Hello.
Well, hello there.
All right, we're here.
Are you hearing me?
You can, am I hearing you or can you hear me?
Just checking.
Just double checking. We all know you have some internet issues these days.
Well, there's a reason why I'm calling in through the phone today instead.
Well, glad that you managed to join.
Yeah.
After all, took the time, and we have somebody else joining right now as well. We
do. Actually, overall, it is quite a tight schedule today. As Lucas just gave away a little bit, have a special guest joining us today who built his own dashboard in Pace Analytics. So we definitely want to look through that and see if we can build a little bit more on it even today. But maybe just before we get into that, we should probably introduce our guest. So yeah, special guest.
Very special. Come on, make this bigger. This is
okay.
Very special.
I'll take it all the way.
Flying in digitally.
Revenue management professional with over a decade of experience from a variety of the biggest international brands and markets, during which time he got nominations and awards such as Intercontinental's Area Director Award for Luxury and Boutique Hotels in Europe. In the past 2 years, he's been running Catala Consulting, providing revenue solutions for big and small hospitality businesses across Europe in the shape of RM consultancy, auditing, outsourcing, and training. His name is Thibault Catala. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. How are you? That was too big introduction, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like wow.
Wow, impressed with this guy. I want to meet him.
Michael did not even let you say hello first.
No,
like straight in.
Thibault, you here? Sure.
Okay. Nice. How are you today, Thibault? What's new in the life of Catala Consulting?
Yeah, I mean everything okay. I mean, for me, as you know, I'm still in Austria, but Austria is looking good. Shops are open, restaurants are open, hotels are reopening this week or next week. I'm not sure, but we have some sign of recovery and kind of back to normal, which is great. So hopefully, I will be able to go back to London, to the UK, to meet you in face-to-face in the next few weeks. But so far, it's okay. Yeah.
That sounds really good. It feels like, even though there's a lot of things happening, you're always staying very, very busy with stuff and making time for us here as well.
I think we have to take this opportunity when the business is a bit down overall, or when the demand is a bit down, to do some things that we have been putting on your to-do list for years or for months. And as well, I think the key word is to stay positive and optimistic on the situation. So any kind of a green shot or any sign of positive trend, I think it's very important to grab everything you can and to make it as big as possible. But I think staying optimistic and positive in this situation is the most important.
Yeah. No, I think everyone with the type of personality that you have is bound to sort of start spending more time on these things. But I'm also thinking that you're not the kind of guy who goes on vacation and then getting a tan on the beach. You're probably the one up playing beach tennis and
vacation. What is it? I don't know this word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
That's something else. Yeah.
Thibault's taking vacations at the moment with each of the webinars that he's doing.
Actually, that's the kind
high
of
demand. He's like,
it is. That's true.
Chiming in here, chiming in there, taking a break from actual work.
No, it's true. Yeah, but it has been quite fun on the last few months to participate on all kind of webinars. Even some webinars, I have no idea what I was doing here, but it was like fun to participate. So yeah, definitely cool.
Nice. Well, we're excited to have you here today, to be part of another webinar in case you want to add it to your CV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think today we might do well. We're hopefully going to be a bit different for you as well, because I mean I'll let Michael walk through a bit more of kind of some question answer game with you, to keep things light and interesting. But even more exciting, obviously, this session is for Pace Analytics and bringing people closer to Pace Analytics. You've been playing around with Pace Analytics for what is it now, 3 weeks maybe, or similar time frame. Actually started to kind of build the things that the whole time we are talking about during these webinars. You actually went ahead and built your own dashboard. So really excited to look at that later today. So for anybody who's online and is curious to see what you can be building yourself without any support from Pace side, we'll be digging into that. But yeah, as a starter, over to you, Michael. I think you have some fun questions for Thibault prepared.
I'm scared now, actually.
Yeah. Well, you're the first one out, so we'll see. This is yet another time where we're sort of being our guinea pig here and testing things on. So we'll
first question, you have a cure for the COVID-19, Thibault? No. Easy question, straightforward. Okay, easy.
Mate, this is all for PR.
I know.
All right, well, we'll go through some of these, and then obviously we'll start sharing screens and have a look at your dashboard. We'll talk a little bit around that, and then after that we'll see what we can come up with together with Lucas on how to bring it on to the next level. But just for the ones that don't maybe know you as well as we do, we'll run through 10 very quick questions. Don't overthink it. We'll just take it for what it is and see what comes out
fire
of it.
round.
My God.
Yeah. All right, ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Full name.
Thibault Catala. That was easy.
Title and current employer.
Current employer is hard to answer, but it's my own company. So I'm working for Catala Consulting, and title, I'm the founder and managing director of the company.
Role model.
Role model. Okay. You should have sent me the question before. I should have prepared a bit more.
I'm not gonna get in trouble already.
I read the questions before and I was like, he's gonna have fun.
Good luck. Role model. I will say like anyone. That's a tough one. Role model, I would say like anyone who have been in a startup and made it successfully. So I will say like Jens. Boom, good answer. 1 point.
Good answer. Next question, quickly.
Favorite hotel or hotel brand?
Okay. I mean, for me, I'm a bit biased because I've been working for those brands, but I really enjoy staying. Okay, that's a very posh answer to say, but I really enjoy staying in the Four Seasons. Four Seasons Kyoto in Japan was fantastic. Four Seasons Bali was even better. The Four Seasons, they are doing a good job in terms of experience and product. So yeah, Four Seasons would be on my first. Four Seasons Tanzania, Serengeti. That was my best experience so far in my life so far.
Is there, you think, like, because obviously those big brands always have strength in a certain length of sort of standardization. Is there something in particular there that you think they're doing really well, since you're mentioning so many different properties?
Yeah.
Within the same brand?
Yeah, I think like first of all, the experience that you have I mean, for me, I will tell you something. It's all about customer experience. So for me, my best model of customer experience was when I went to the Four Seasons Abu Dhabi, and I was in the taxi. So no entrance of the hotel, no nothing. I was in a taxi, so I didn't arrive yet. And just a moment where I arrived in front of the hotel, the guy opened the door, and he said like, "Welcome to Four Seasons Abu Dhabi, Mr. Catala." So he didn't even have my name or nothing. He just recognized my face and he said like, "Welcome to Four Seasons Abu Dhabi." And just I entered and was like, "Wow, that's 5-star." So those small things, those small wow factor, I think that's what makes all difference between a good, an excellent, and outstanding hotel. And I think like Four Seasons, to some extent, they do a good job on this.
Yeah, definitely can't argue with that. Hardest part about revenue management?
Okay, very good. I mean, revenue management is okay. I think in revenue management, it's about let me think about what I'm going to say. So yeah, revenue management is still at a very early stage, in my opinion. So I think like the hardest part is to make this awareness and increase the awareness of revenue management, because I still believe we are at a very early stage. So sometimes we need to adjust our or we present revenue management, because you may have some big brands that have been doing revenue management for 20 years or a bit more. And then you have owners or GM who are just discovering revenue management. So the hardest part has been to translate those very complicated theories into very simple and actionable tactics, and to put like very complex words into like a very simple sentence. Sometimes to explain like you're explaining to my daughter of 1 year old. So that's that's the most challenging part of revenue management, but challenging, but as well exciting part as well.
Outstanding answer. I think even that goes all the way to Lucas, actually, who I bet can relate to that as well, but maybe in a different aspect.
It seems that
I fully agree.
Yeah, it seems that I've prepared my answer, but I didn't.
I can vouch for that. Is the future revenue manager coming from hotels or more number-focused educations?
I believe it will be. It needs to be from both sides. In my opinion, revenue management is both an art and a science. And looking at the complexity of the landscape of hotels and distribution, it's becoming more and more complicated. So it's moving towards an art and a science to more a science. Okay. So more and more we will see some new roles in revenue management coming from mathematics, from science, and yes, to some different departments, but you also need to have this link with the operations, because you can develop the best revenue management strategy, the best revenue management tactics, and so on. If you don't have this knowledge on what does it mean for the hotel operations, then you are screwed in a way. So you need to have both sides of the story to make a full revenue management strategy and tactics, and to understand the whole part and the full picture.
Yeah, I completely see what you say. I'm always thinking it's like the type of person that becomes a great revenue manager must be very specific, because you got sort of numbers on one side and then charisma on the other side, and you need to have like a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah. I mean, the revenue manager a few years ago was a data geek behind his computer doing like Excel spreadsheets, doing everything, and he couldn't talk to anyone. It was just like boom, 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 like that's a report, that's what it is. Good revenue manager today, you don't even see them behind the desk. They are in the operation, talking to the team, making sure the culture is here, and yeah. So again, that's what we have been doing at Catala Consulting. We have been leveraging technology to automate the tactics as much as possible, for us to focus on where we add value, which is on the strategy, and making sure the revenue culture is developing at the right pace in the hotel. Amazing.
Will total revenue management ever become norm in the hotel industry?
Yeah, I think so. We have seen some development of total revenue management in the last few years. I still believe it's still at a very, very early stage. We are talking about early stage in revenue management, but I think total revenue management is still at a very early stage. But the benefits of having like an holistic approach in revenue management to all departments combined are tremendous, are enormous. So I mean, like if you didn't hear about total revenue management before, and that's the first time you hear about it, go for it. F&B, spa, parking, golf, room service, everything that can be optimized, do it, because it's a few cents here in a few here. And again, post-crisis, every single cent will count. And I think like, yes, we can find good opportunity in room revenue, because your profitability is much higher on room revenue. However, don't forget about other revenue streams and other departments. So yes, total revenue management will become the norm, and we'll start shifting from RevPAR to total RevPAR. And I think that will be the key in the next few years.
I think that's an answer a lot of people like to hear, me included. Yeah. Almost at the finishing line, 3 questions left. ADR or occupancy?
Okay. Neither of these two. I will say like you need to find the right balance between those two, and I will say RevPAR, because RevPAR, it's a combination of ADR and occupancy. So some hotels, they want to drive high occupancy, and they say like I want to have my hotel at 1% every day, but then they forget about ADR. And then some hotels, I want to be the highest ADR in the market, so I will put my rates, that's it, and at that much, and I will drop my occupancy. But revenue-wise, it will not be the right balance. So I would say like it's a balance of ADR and occupancy, depending on demand and depending on the situation. But always look at your RevPAR, and RevPAR is done by a combination of both. Now, if you tell me like what you prefer between occupancy and ADR, I would say I would prefer to drive revenue by ADR, because it drives more market share, RGI. But again, there is 2 different dates, and it has to be reviewed on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most underrated tech application you know?
Pace? No, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't have to be revenue management.
No, okay. Tech application. I don't know. I mean, tech application. In which way? Like application, like app on a phone, or like it has to be on a.
Yeah, it can be anything.
Whatever you find it most intriguing at the moment.
Okay. I don't know actually. I mean, for me, I don't know actually. That's a good one. Underrated. I'm a big fan of currently I'm using. I don't know if you know Trello. So any kind of communication tool, project management tools that help you bring the operation of a team even remotely. We have been using Trello quite a lot. Maybe you have different software like a Slack or those kind of system that can help you organize the team remotely, fully remote. And I think that's very important nowadays, considering that everyone is working from home, and it will be a more and more popular trend. So every kind of tools that help you leverage those remote organization and remote management, I think is key. And then you have the dynamic pricing tools, in hotels, which are underrated 1%.
Nice. Just got the curve there, Thibault. For a moment there, I thought we lost you. But
bad connection. Bad connection.
I agree with Trello though. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Like it is generally. I love Trello. I love using Trello, and I think generally it's quite underrated. Like lots of people don't use it, but it can be used for so many different things for project management. So if anybody doesn't know it,
and if you want to go in totally a different direction, and I think nowadays mental health is super important. I would say like Headspace or all kind of app where you have meditation and so on. It's so underrated, and the ROI, if you want, in a way, to get your daily meditation on daily basis, yes, it's so underrated. So yeah, Trello, Pace, and Headspace.
And that's your tech stack right there.
Voila, boom.
Keeps you organized and relaxed.
Exactly.
Final question: hitting budget or hitting forecast?
Hitting budget. Hitting budget is the most important because it's your long-term vision and your long-term target. And then, so your budget is fixed once a year, and then you have your forecast that needs to reflect the more realistic trends. Okay, so I will prefer to hit the budget. However, if your forecast is above the budget, I will prefer to hit the forecast.
That's fair enough. Outstanding, Thibault. Very, very, very good answers.
Despite not being prepared. So
yeah,
for anybody who comes in in future kind of live sessions, we have to make sure to come up with new questions as well. So
they were quite easy actually. I was expecting like who was the third president of the Unity State. Those kind of questions will be totally screwed. But yeah, that's fine.
That's a good one for the next person, actually.
Exactly.
Good point.
Nice.
All right. Well, then, now that we all know you a little bit better than what we did before, let's get into that dashboard and start looking at what you've built.
Yep.
So do you so shall I share my screen? Obviously, because I used your dashboard that you've built, and I actually moved it to our demo account.
That's what I was going to ask. Like,
we're not showing.
Okay, good.
We're not showing your live customer data. No worries.
Just checking.
But you'll see it. It'll look a little bit more interesting, hopefully, maybe as well. So can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me just hide a few things up here. We don't need to see all of this. And then go full screen. You guys can still see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So just for you to quickly context, Thibault, this is now across all of our demo properties. And so this is aggregated across all of the properties right now.
Okay.
And for anybody who's new to these sessions, this is Pace. This is Pace Analytics. I'd highly recommend the previous sessions because we'll dive straight in today. yeah, I'm just going to hand over to you, Thibault. Tell me where to kind of point or click. Otherwise, be just super interesting for you to walk us through what was your thinking when you created the dashboard. Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. I mean, for me, I was feeling quite inspired when I started playing with this dashboard. So I tried a lot of different things. At the beginning, it looks very ugly, but now it's getting better. So for me, I wanted to have a snapshot of the monthly performance for any hotel. And again, as I mentioned, just to tell you why I love those kind of analytics, because we want to automate as much as possible the tactics in revenue management, reporting, pricing, forecast, everything that a machine can do much better and more efficiently than we do. And we don't want to spend time on tactics where we can actually spend more time on the strategy and making the targets happen. So that's where we want to build and use those kind of reports to analyze the data, take the data that we need, and take the right decision to translate it into action. Because if you don't have any action, then that's kind of useless. So that's why we have built this kind of report. Okay. So for what I wanted, it was a monthly dashboard and to have at a glance the performance. So I'm quite sure we have forgotten some information, some KPI, but at least it gives us some good insight. So as you can see on the top left, we started with the main performance, the monthly, when you have the number of room nights sold, occupancy, ADR, and total revenue, rooms revenue. Okay, so just to have an idea of the monthly performance top line. And then we wanted to see on the monthly revenue, so the chart just below, where do we stand by month to see any kind of seasonality and any trends, and even for the future pace, how much do we have on the book for the revenue and ADR. You have the revenue in column, and then you have the ADR on the line on top. Okay?
Nice.
So
you can kind of just always contrast them against each other and see if there's any trend that you identify across the months.
Exactly. Yeah. And as well, you see, like we don't have much on the book, I mean, on those data from August onwards. So maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. So that will help us have more a yearly view of what's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one, it helps us on a more yearly basis. The one just below, I find it super interesting because it gives us information about the lead time. And as you can see on this chart, we see like you have a small of a spike between 17 to 75, 80 days. And you can understand like, okay, we for September, or okay, for October onwards, we don't have any revenue. Is it worrying? Is it not worrying? And then let's look back at the lead time analysis. Now are we today in the main lead time? So should we expect more pickup than we have currently, or is it totally normal and we will see an acceleration of pace getting closer to the date? So this lead time analysis is in correlation with the current on the book to understand like what kind of pace and what kind of lead time we should expect. So knowing like in some hotels, I have the lead time which is very short, like between 1 to 5, 7 days in advance. So if I am still empty 3 weeks or 2 weeks in advance, but my main lead time, I know that I'm picking up 80% or 90% of my business in the week for the week. I don't need to worry. While if on the week I'm still empty, then I will need to activate some different strategy and different tactics. Okay.
Nice. So and this chart. Yeah. So I mean, this chart looks super cool. It's basically untangling the booking curve, right? Like instead of having the booking curve kind of growing over time, we're just looking at each of the lead days and we can kind of see, okay, where's basically our booking velocity the highest? Yeah. Super cool. Really good way to visualize that.
Yeah, and you can compare this one. So you have both units sold, room night, and revenue. And you can even compare this one. Let's say like you take a screenshot of this one and you look at this month last year to understand if the lead time is comparable or not, because I'm quite sure the lead time would be different by season, by month, and so on. But it helps us understand if we are at risk or if it's totally normal that we have this kind of pace. So this one, it was very powerful, actually.
Nice. That's very cool.
If you go on the top right, so this one, it was more like a visual representation of your nationality and geo mix for the month. I wanted to add another one just below. That may be something we can discuss later. But you have your visual information. For example, in this one, we see that we have a lot of German customers. Okay, and then you have Spain and UK. Okay, so it just have a visualization of where my guests are coming from, and to help us identify any kind of marketing activities or any kind of tactics or promotion that we can do to target those mix. Okay. And just below, I'm going to add something I'm thinking about, just to add the data, such as let's say like Germany, X number of room night, ADR, and revenue, and so on, to help us dig a bit more in detail. Visualization is great, but it doesn't give me proper data. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean now. So you basically break it down by country.
Yeah, just as the data below. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, nice. No, it's a great idea. It's also great to see kind of how potentially different markets have a different willingness to pay, right?
Yeah, 100%. You'll have different ADR by markets and so on. So I think that's something quite useful to be added on top.
Yeah.
And then for us, which are another level of optimization. So yeah, pricing is definitely one main one for revenue optimization. But for us as well, there is two elements, which is just below the countries. You have the market segmentation and the channel mix. So the market segmentation is more like our business mix. And when I say like, for example, in this one, you see that some, I don't know about this mix, but you have 75% of your dynamic markets, okay? And then you have 10% of static, group, and miscellaneous, okay? So let's say like, that's our current mix for this year. Next year, we want to increase our revenue by 10,000, I don't know. So there is one way of adjusting your price, increasing price or decreasing price to try to get more, or increase price to drive more revenue. Okay, that's kind of 101. However, with this, you can also leverage the same demand year on year, and just by shifting, let's say, what 1% from group to dynamic, I don't know, 1% just, it will increase by 10,000. I don't know. That's one scenario. So we not only look at optimization by pricing, we also look by optimization by business mix shift from one month to another, or from 1 year to another. And this tool can help us understand what is the current market segmentation towards and versus what we want to achieve, and versus as well as the evolution of this market segmentation. And this very similar approach to the one just below that you have on the channel mix. And again, we could as well, here we have the detail, but we could as well combine it by OTA, direct, GDS, website, and so on, and look at the channel mix from one month to another, 1 year to another, because you have different costs of acquisition, you have different net RevPAR by channel, and as well optimizing your revenue is one thing, but you could also optimize your net RevPAR. And looking at your channel mix shift is another way to optimize all of this. So very similar approach to market segmentation. We want to understand like what is our current channel mix for this month. Okay.
Nice.
And the last one on the left, you have the on the book performance. So it's more to have a visual representation of a daily performance, not only by the months, but all my months split up. So it's like, for example, on I don't have the weekdays, but you see like you have a trend where you have the 30, 29, the 23rd, 22nd, which are actually quite high, and then you have weekdays which are actually quite low. So that may be a pattern that we can easily identify in this chart. Okay. And if you have like one day which has a very high ADR, or one which very low ADR, that will help us identify what happened and where we need to look at. So this kind of chart is also very useful.
Yeah, just stands out, right? Just gives you that kind of very clear highlight.
Correct. And last but not the least, which I found very difficult to do with some other, with any kind of PMS or any kind of other system, was to do our occupancy by room type. So I've called it the room type performance, and just to give us the detail by room type in terms of occupancy, room nights, ADR, and revenue by room type. And this one will help us understand if we have been doing a lot of a first room category. That's like if your first room category was doing like a 90%, 1%, and all the rest was empty, or if we have a good split and across and good balance strategy for the all room types. Or maybe we have seen that one room type was not selling at all. Therefore, maybe there is an issue with the rate difference between one room type to another. That's where we need to adjust. So this chart is very useful and very powerful as well for taking some action decision later on.
Nice. It's incredible how much information you fit in there, and sort of giving an ability to get an overview of so many different aspects. I mean, optimizing on a room type level, especially segmentation, but also channel, all in the same goal, I think that's really, really cool. And then the ability to sort of actually dig into the daily details, but like my favorite on this one has got to be the lead time. It's just so clear
Mine
on
as well, yeah, you're right.
where to focus your marketing efforts, right? When does it make sense to put advertising out there? If you do it outside of that window, you're probably not going to get a lot of bucks for your money. But yeah, this just outlines it so well. So it's a very, very cool dashboard, this one.
No, I like it as well because I don't know, I'm sure we can, but like you can schedule some report and you can receive it on a monthly basis. So just like a one page. For me, the automation will be, as I see it, to have this kind of report on a daily, monthly, maybe yearly basis, where you don't even go into the system to retrieve the data, but you actually receive like an automated report on a monthly basis or daily basis that tell you at a glance everything that you need to know about the hotel. That's my idea.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, yourself or also people who've obviously been listening in, that's absolutely the idea of this. So really, really great that you have that mindset already. Like, this is all data you might not want to see multiple times per day, but it's just really good to keep track of it on a daily basis. It's good to keep track also for potentially other stakeholders in the organization, where you just say, okay, you don't need that on a daily basis, but let's kick off our Monday with a review of last week, and you can just kind of narrow all of this down also to last week. You can schedule this and send it to the people with a regular schedule. So that's really great.
But I think like for us, the key is to retrieve those data because I mean we know to analyze those data and what to do with analytics because the most important I can give this kind of data to a lot of people, but the most important is what to do with this. What is the strategy behind it? What are the tactics to extract from this? And that's where revenue manager can help on those kind of systems. So I'm not saying like Pace or any kind of other AI and platform will replace revenue manager. You still need revenue manager for all this kind of level of strategy and what to do with the data behind. That at the moment any kind of AI can do at the moment. They can do much better job at tactics, forecast, pricing, and so on, but not on what to do with data on the strategy part.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that we absolutely agree with as well, which is why obviously we wanted to put a huge emphasis on analytics. I think if we were to describe kind of the future of how we see revenue management evolving in organizations, it's that we will have systems who will be able to make decisions a lot faster with a lot more information, a lot more diligently when it comes to kind of making individual pricing decisions. But when it comes to forward-looking strategy, potentially changing, shifting, like what you described earlier, to say, you know what, I think there's an opportunity here to shift between segments or kind of elevate, potentially get more revenue out of this particular segment, which is not necessarily dynamic, which is where systems like ours, for example, can drive pricing decisions. This is really where something like this can help you, and it can enable you to drill into the data, understand, okay, like you described here, well, this is what my composition of my market segments look like. What was the revenue contribution? What was the ADR? What can we change here? And actually, I really like your example about the countries as well, to break down those metrics by country. So you could compare, okay, well, what is my selling rate typically? If I'm a UK property, what's my selling rate for, I don't know, other European countries, for within the UK, from overseas? How do they change? Where do they come from? What are those segments? So super interesting, just to kind of also just explore, right? It's also just, it's like going on an exploration. It's like you discover 100%. New things.
Sure.
Nice. Cool. So really, really, really cool that you first of all built this, and that you were happy to share this as well. And actually what we're going to do today with, I think Michael hopefully touched on this with you as well already. But we'd love to actually make this dashboard available to more people. So obviously we'll fine tune it over time. But if you are currently using Pace and you find this interesting, what Thibault has built, we will add this to the list of dashboards here. No worries, we'll keep your branding. It will be Catala Consulting dashboard. But yeah, we just thought it's so cool, and it's really easy for us to just kind of move these dashboards, make them available to more people. So really just want to also show that our users are the experts, and you guys really give us the inspiration for what to do.
Yeah, again, it's something like there's no one report that fits all. I believe you can use this as a guide or as a base, and then play around and adjust as you want. And that's the most important. Maybe like most of the data that you see here for someone will become completely useless and you want to see something different, but use it as a base and build on your own, same as a Lego. Maybe sometimes you have your Lego plan that you want to build for your spaceship, but then you start and you build a farm. I don't know. Use it as a base and build your own. That's maybe my recommendation.
Absolutely. Awesome. So that's really great. But now we actually want to get into the building part, the discussing part. I know you've had some more ideas. I think Michael and I had one or two ideas that also we could work on.
I think just briefly before that, Lucas, if I can cut in, there's just one question from the audience as well, and from Matthew specifically with regards to the filtering. He's wondering if there is any drill through or filter capabilities on this.
Yes, excellent question. So yeah, at the moment we have drills already. So this is definitely part of what is within this product. It really depends on the context, obviously, what you're clicking through. So for example, if we're looking into timelines, we can jump into drills that shows us everything by the actual date or by the week. So we get essentially like a pop-out that shows us this timeline. It then really depends on kind of what the dashboard is that you've built. So and what metrics you're looking at. The drill ins are definitely available. I think we have them as well in some of our other dashboards. I'm just going to jump to another dashboard just to demo this. Sorry, Thibault, to interject here. But so these drill downs are definitely possible. And I'm just going to see, I think in here, yeah, perfect. So often how you see them is with these little dots. And you can have drill ins on the timeline, like I just showed, and you can actually just make things more granular. But what I really like about drill downs is if you actually have particular data points that are used in other dashboards as well, and you can use them to navigate through dashboards. So in here, for example, we have the night of the 27th of May. And here we have a particular night where potentially we want to review our seasonal pricing, and immediately it's suggesting that you want to probably drill into this particular night and looking at the seasonal pricing dashboard. So if we were to click into this, it jumps straight in. It pre-fills all of the values that you've selected from the particular row. And there you go, you're off to the races. So really, really kind of powerful way to navigate through your data as well, not just when you exploring. So you guys probably remember the explores, but also once you have dashboards created, that you can navigate and jump between them. Excellent question there.
You create your dashboard and you have your filter on top where you can change the date or any value that you want to change. So once the dashboard is created, just use as a guide or a base that you can then filter by months or by whatever you want to see.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point here. Also, you've created this here, right? So you've only actually added one filter, so you kept it very clean, which is great because it's a very purpose-driven dashboard already. And you selected, so by default, this always opens on the current month. We could change the period, actually. We could say, give us just a range. I'm going to be lazy and just pick, let's say, 2020-01. And if we just hit enter, everything that you see in the dashboard is updated and is now reflecting the January 2020 data.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Did you set that up?
that's when I saw you like changing the filter, I was like, no, don't do this, not going to. But
well, I mean, if that part, well, that's a great example though. If that part is not fully set up yet, let's just have a quick look at that. Oh, there we go.
You see?
There we go.
My God, you saw me. I was like sweating when I saw you. Yeah, we need to change. We can change the filter in the periods. No, don't do it, Lucas. Don't do it.
I mean, all you need to do is do this.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then what I'm gonna do, because you've always selected the month, which is completely fine. So your dashboard is based to always show month data.
Not the monthly revenue ADR. This one you don't need to select it, I think. monthly revenue, this one.
Ah, okay, perfect. So this just always gives you the current year, I guess.
Correct.
That's how you created the chart.
Yep.
Any of the other ones?
I think the rest is fine.
Perfect. So let's just hit save on this, and let's just run this again. Perfect. This is live development, what it should be like. So this is our full year. This stays, and then all the other ones, you can see they're loading a little longer now compared to previously. We see a different curve here.
Yeah, same. Change.
Perfect. So that all worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, really good point, Thibault. So these filters, obviously, you can create, you can add more if you want to. So if Thibault says, actually, I want to also be able to, let's just quickly do that, because Thibault, you only built this on one property for yourself. So I'm just going to add a property filter here, which is, so we could choose between the different properties. I'm just going to leave it blank, but I'm going to apply it to all of them. And what this means is we'll get a new field up here. And if we click into this, it should show us a drop down, which is just relevant to you. So it takes a little time to build, but there we go. So these are all of our demo properties. And if we were to just pick one, I guess if we just pick our demo apartments, for example, and hit run, again, everything would update as you would expect for this month, this chart for the full year. And then everything else, well, all the data would just display these three properties. So really easy way for you to drill into particular data points. Cool. All right. There we go. Already extended this dashboard. Lovely. The people who are watching are helping us with our work. All right. You said one thing at the start. This is going to be really, this is me working in product, being nitpicky. But I saw this chart here. And just because at the start of the call, you said, oh, visually, I think it can probably be better. Let me just show you one quick trick that I often use. There we go.
That's what I was looking at the beginning. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
I figured you might want to just have like a, and then we can give this a bit more breathing space up here.
Nice, yeah.
And there we go. We've kind of got just the key highlights. We could even go in and say, you know what, we just want to round these values.
Nice.
And format them. We could also focus, by the way. So this particular tile you can actually also use to build comparisons. So it allows you to use 4 values, and you can either use those 4 values like this, or you can use the values to say, this is this year, this is last year, calculate the comparison.
So that's what I wanted to do at the beginning. I wanted to have like the monthly figures and just below the same with last year and the same as last year, same time. So exactly the same as what you see here, but for last year and same time last year.
Okay. So, no, perfect. All right. This is
game on.
All right. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this tile, and I'm going to move this to the bottom, and we'll go into edit mode. All right. Again, for anybody who's online, this is not prepared. I cannot promise anything, but I will give it my best. So let's start. We have, so you chose here the reserved night month as a filter. So this is absolutely fine and makes complete sense. But that works particularly well if you want to do analysis of one particular time period. So we just wanted to make this available for kind of ease of use. For if we want to do actually time comparisons, I created, because it can get quite complex to like filter on this month and then also filter on this year and then pivot. And so what I did, I created this here, which is basically a step-by-step guide to quickly get year-on-year comparisons. So what we can do here is, instead of using the reserved night month as a filter, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use this particular way of doing it. So we say this month, comparable period is previous year. Let's skip the STLY just so we get clear numbers first, and then we can filter. And And then I'm going to show periods. And what that should give us now, hopefully, is, yeah, I'm just trying, well, I'm going to run it like this first. So what I would expect is that there's one row that says this year and one row that says previous year. And we should see those measures for each of those. Oh, there we go. That worked. Okay, so we have this year, last year, and for each of those rows, we have now the occupancy, ADR, revenue, and units sold. Cool?
Yep.
So that worked. Now, what's the best way to present this data? So this is now limited because this, so we have all these different types of visualizing data.
Mm-hmm.
And this is limited because it can only actually show us either 4 values or 2 values.
But you could remove this year. I mean, you can do like 2 blocks. Use the first block with 6 months, and you do another block below without any title with only the last year. That could be one solution.
Yeah. So let's just. I think that's a good idea. But what I'm going to do then to make it more explicit is I am going to choose. I'm going to filter this just to make sure that it always just gets this year, basically. If we hit run now, should only give us this year data. There we go. Okay, so let's save this. And actually, let's save this, but let's still give this a proper name. Should we do something like this year OTB performance? I'm going to remove the monthly because the dashboard's already called monthly.
This one's the same as the one that we have done on top left.
Yeah, exactly. So this should have exactly the same numbers now. The only reason I'm doing this again now is because it's the way how I'm filtering the data is different. And I want to keep things consistent. So when I do this other one now, all I have to do is I edit it and I say, so this year, I say last year. You see what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's a tiny difference, but it makes this a bit easier. And again, I've forgotten to change the name. Last year was performance. Perfect. All right. And what we can do now as well. So the other thing which was missing was you wanted to have same time last year as well, right?
Yeah.
So again, I'm just going to duplicate this because we already said it's fine if we can have all of these as separate tiles rather than in one, because we'd look at them together anyways. And what I've created here, we have the ability to filter. And this is basically, you can just say, okay, if I activate this filter, say filter for same time last year, yes. What it will do is it's going to filter all of the data from last year for only bookings that happened basically before today, last year. So this is previous year. I've got the filter on. I'm just going to run this now. We can still see those values, and we should see those values drop now. Yeah, because it's probably not massively because it's at the end of this month. Yeah, so they changed, but it didn't change much because we're on the 27th of May already. But nevertheless, this is working. So same time last year, OTB performance. Let's move this, hit save, and there we go. We have built 3 tiles, which all work together. We could now move. So this one we could drop because we basically have it already now. So let's just delete that one. And then all of these, we're just going to move up to the top. And we have to, that's number 1 this year. And we can obviously make them smaller or, whoopsie daisy. Who says whoopsie daisy?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Don't judge me. I'm doing this for you. All right. So this year, last year, same time last year, they all look shockingly similar though.
Last year and this year is the same. And the same time last year is pretty much the same except the occupancy. Maybe you need to rerun it again.
Sorry, what did you say? Oh, this one is.
Yeah, occupancy is different, but all the rest is similar. If you run the report again, if you.
Yes, we can do that. However, I don't think there's going to be a big difference, because I think the issue here is that we're basically looking at a completed month, which is this month. I mean, it's not entirely complete yet.
But last year should be the same, except if you have the demo data, which are the same from 1 year to another.
Oh yes, sorry. Now I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, it is very, very similar. Let's have a look at this again here. It definitely looked different earlier, right? So this is this year. This looks all fine. I think I have an idea. I think the filter that I set is not working entirely the way I wanted it to work.
Seems updated now. Yeah, probably it's a matter of to run the report again, probably to update the data. Because it seems like
I think this. Oh. Yeah, this filter is not entirely working the way I wanted to. Let me just have another look at this. So if we run this from scratch, so this year is just very low. Okay, so this looks like something that would need a little bit more digging. But that's fine. That's what we have these things for.
We get the idea. We get
the idea, exactly.
How about we take that on and finish this up after the call. For now, I think we'll leave it for what it is. We'll just finish that off, and then once completed, we'll publish it and share it with everyone. And we sort of look at wrapping up a little bit. Thibault, big thank you for joining today. Really, really appreciate it. I think there was some amazing things coming out of it. Wish you all the best when it comes to the summer. Hope for best possible pickup we can get, and for anyone who is listening out there, get in touch with Thibault if you want some really amazing RM consultancy, or reach out to us and we'll make sure to put you in contact. But for now, thanks, and we'll speak again soon.
But thank you so much, guys. It was fun, actually. And again, last word on my side. Everyone stay positive, and I'm quite sure we're going to see a nice recovery in the next few months, maybe years, I don't know, but hopefully in the next few weeks, few months. But stay positive and stay optimistic.
That is a very, very good way to finish this. Lovely. Amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Thibault. Speak soon, yeah?
Cheers. Yeah, we do this.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.